Okay, so on this question, we have an equal sign. So let me put that in, make that super clear for us. There's the wall of separation, left side, right side are equal. So that means this is a rational, these are rational, fractions in other words, ratios, rationals with an equal sign. So what do you do in that case? Step number one is to factor the denominators. You've got to start by factoring these denominators because it's all about common denominator. So you got to factor denominators. So that means this one in particular needs to be factored. Remember how that works? We're looking for what multiplies. So let me bring that over here. Plus in between. Equal sign. And that one, okay. So this one just stays the same, and this one stays the same. But the one over here is going to become 2 parentheses. M times m multiplies to be m squared. 10 times 10. You need 1 positive and 1 negative, right, to multiply to be negative 100. Positive 10 times negative 10. Is that good so far? So that's step number one, factor that denominator. So right here, m squared minus 100, we've done that before. Multiply, m times m is m squared, and positive 10 times negative 10 is negative 100. Okay, now we're going to multiply through. We're on step number 2. So step number 2, I'm going to multiply all the terms on the left and the right by the LCD over 1. And what is the LCD? It's 1 of every denominator item. 1 of everything. So I look over the denominator and I take 1 of everything. So the LCD is going to be an m plus 10 and an m minus 10. Those are the only 2 kinds of things we have, right? So you just need 1 of each. Okay, so what do you do with it? You multiply through by that over 1. So I'm going to go m plus 10, m minus 10 on that term. And then m plus 10, m minus 10 in the middle. And then m plus 10 and m minus 10. All the way across over 1 or in the top of all the terms. Does that make sense? That's okay to do because we have a left side and a right side. The left side equals the right side. So I'm doing the same to all the terms on the left and all the terms on the right. If they were equal before, the left side and right side, and you treat them the same, they got to be equal afterwards sometimes. So, okay, so now what happens on step number 3? We are going to cross cancel all denominators. All denominators should cancel out and do what? Multiply the leftovers. So whatever's left over will multiply. So I'm going to go, okay, m plus 10, m plus 10, m minus 10, m minus 10. What's left over? Minus 2m. What about here? M minus 10, m minus 10. What's left over? 8 and m plus 10. M plus 10, m plus 10. What's left over? 1 and m minus 10. Does that make sense? So notice all the denominators have canceled out, haven't they? We've cross-canceled, gotten rid of all denominators. All denominators have gone bye-bye. And what's left over, we now multiply. So I'm going to go, okay, minus 2m. This 8's going to distribute. Plus 8m plus 80. This 1 will distribute, which is just 1m minus 10. All right. Now, no more fractions. Now we just solve, but that's easier said than done. Remember when we have m's on the letters on the same side, we combine. I'm going to combine those two. 8m minus 2m is 6m. Okay, good so far. And now we have m's on opposite sides. There you go. So what do you do when you have them on opposite sides like this? So see these guys right here? These guys are on opposite sides of the equal sign, right? So when you have m's on, so let me write that. So step 4, when you have letters on opposite sides, do the opposite. Do the opposite of one of them. It doesn't matter which one. So when you have letters on opposite, easy to forget this rule. It's been a long time since you've done this. You do the opposite of one of them. What do you mean opposite? Well, like I'm going to go minus 1m. And of course, whatever you do to one side, you have no choice but to do the same thing to the other, right? Because you got to keep the balance. If they're equal before, you treat them the same, going to be equal afterwards. So that makes sense. Then that's going to cancel this out. That's the opposite of that. Now you could have done minus 6m to both sides and cancel that 6m out. That's fine. It'll work either way. It doesn't matter. Just do the opposite of one of them to cancel it out because you don't want the letter in 2 places. So what will that leave? 5m plus 80 is minus 10. Does that make sense? That's how you get the letter in just one place. When you have it on opposite sides, you do the opposite of one of them and you do it to both sides. So that one cancels out. So 2 things going on there. Right here, we have the letters on the same side. We just combine them. And then here we have the letters on opposite sides. We do the opposite of one of them, do it to both sides, and it cancels out. Now just finish up from here. So, okay, minus 80. Like that. Boom, boom. Bring down to 5m. This is minus 90. And then last step, divide by 5. Boom. M is minus 18. And there's our answer. There we go. So recapping really quick, what did we do? Step 1, we factored denominators. Factored denominators. So I factored this m squared minus 100, m times m plus 10 times minus 10, factored, and then I multiplied through all the terms left and right by LCD over 1. What's the LCD? 1 of every denominator item. So m plus 10 and m minus 10. Top, 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 over 1, in other words. And then what? Step 3, cross cancel all those denominators and multiply the leftovers. So I canceled everything out, brought down the leftovers, and I multiplied whatever was left over. Right here, I multiplied what was left over. And then I just solved for m. 2 m's on the same side, combined them. M's on opposite sides, did the opposite to get rid of one of them. And then just take the steps to get m alone. There we go.